I have a thing to zoom in. Look how organized she is. I'm somewhat organized. Anyway, on my website, you can get a link directly to the chat bubbles. Once you click that, then it will open up in your overlays on Stream Elements, right? This is on like my bot account, just so that you don't see like all the many overlays that I have on Stream Elements. So yeah, you just go in here. It gets one-click install load in. It's very easy, which is something I love about Stream Elements, that it lets me do that. So yeah, we have Chat Bubbles version 2.8.2. This is like, if you've seen my YouTube video on the chat bubbles, that was on version 2.0.0 or something like that, or 2.1.0. So it's like the video's kind of outdated, but it's still useful. But I'm definitely gonna go over like everything that I added in. So, yeah. Oh my god, Ember, thank you for tipping $5. That will be get shared to everyone who's like every panelist equally. Thank you so much. Yeah, so once you go in, immediately it'll show this. I have like an extra set of like instructions that are here. Like the first thing, you're like, okay, so why is this showing up? It tells you how to turn it off right here. Preview mode is on. You can set preview mode to off to hide this. So we can just go in here, turn it off so that it doesn't show that anymore. This is just an easy way to basically see whatever changes that you make to the settings. That's why I included it, right? So like, as you can see, like messages just start appearing like immediately, which is the best part about the preview mode, right? They just start appearing, and you can see that by default everything is in random mode, because that's kind of how I programmed the chat bubbles at first, because you don't see like a chat message like overlay that has like messages that just appear at random like this, and I have this test message button where I can just spam the hell out of it. It's really fun, just to see like all the messages start appearing. I love this one. This is my favorite emote. And yeah, you can also have it like set like different message types. So like there's basically these three message types. So if we have them all be highlighted, then they're basically all going to have this animated rainbow background, as you can see here. Yeah. So if you didn't know, chat bubbles by default, if you have a highlighted message, it'll have a rainbow background, because I just thought that would be really fun to include. Yeah. And then of course there's the /me messages, which is like, I made it so that like, you know, when you type /me, it'll have everything in italics. But if you look carefully, the emotes are also in italics. I just kind of added that in just for fun. They just kind of like slanted over. Am I in italics? Yes, you are. There you go. So yeah, there we go. That's how that looks. And then you can also write your own custom message, like chat bubbles are great. And then all the like little preview messages will start showing that instead. So yeah, that's basically how the preview mode works. Love that good gay rainbow shit. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so that's how the preview mode works. Okay. Oh yeah, I should also just show you real quick. If you want to add this to OBS, right? All you have to do is click on this button up here, click overlay, copy overlay URL, right? It's a little link icon, right? Then you want to go into OBS. So let me show that real quick. Let's see. Here's my OBS. It's kind of a bit much. Don't worry about it. But basically, you can like go down here, kind of just add a browser source. Don't mind the inception. Right? And then we just put in the link here, and then you do want to make sure, oh gosh, it's like covering it up. I don't know. Okay, but Okay, you can see like the width and height there, right? You want to set that to 1920 by 1080 so that it'll be like the full screen and nothing will be like hidden, because that's what the chat bubbles are like made to like work with, and it's just how Streamlabs kind of works. So you want to put it at 1920 by 1080, right? And now ignore okay, so I know what's going on there, but anyway, it's because it's from my other account, so don't worry about that. But like usually, you know, it'll work once your Twitch is like actually connected correctly in OBS. But for direction, is there a way to make it go right to left or left to right? You mean like just like horizontally? No, it's either like vertically or random, basically. But like I can show you all the different ways that works. Yeah. Yeah. So bubble styles, let's go into that. Well, actually, let's go into position mode first. So by default, we have the random mode, which is really fun, but we also have the traditional list mode, which people use a lot, in which, you know, the bubbles just kind of pop up like that. And it has like the nice little animation, and I'll just kind of move upwards. It's really nice. Yeah, a lot of people use list mode. I've seen like the random mode usually used a lot in like just chatting scenes or something. That's always really fun to see, just like them popping up all over the place. I used to kind of just have them in random mode all the time. Just because, I don't know, I just love the novelty of it. Like you don't see that on anyone else's stream. So yeah. And then like, okay, with list mode, you have like a bunch of other options. So you can have them align on the left, you can have them align on the right hand side, and then they'll just like pop up that way. But there's also a center mode, which I don't think anyone uses, but like I just added it in because it was really easy to put in. So yeah, there we go. They just like pop in the center. Do you plan to code it to ever go horizontally unless so? I don't know. It depends on how complicated that would be. If it's easy for me to set up, maybe I would do it. Might be tricky due to how I animate it. I don't know. Because it's either, right now it's just designed for like vertical or random. Yeah. Yeah, there's a center mode, which is just, it's really fun to see like the... just like the animation of it growing in both directions. But yeah, that's a thing if you want to use that. Yeah, and then we also have bottom up, which is traditional chat comes up from the bottom, but someone also asked for top down, so like I added that option too if you wanted that. You use in random mode? Nice. Okay, yeah. So now let's keep it in list mode. I think that'll be like easiest to show off, and just like have it on the left. Yeah, and let's have it be bottom up just because that's how it's traditionally like. Okay. So then, I'll also thank you for the follow. So we have some other options here. Okay, themes. We have some pre-built themes. There's only 2 themes right now. There's the original theme, just how I just had the chat bubbles look originally. And then there's also the Animal Crossing style inspired theme, which just, you know, it makes all the chat bubbles like look like how they would look like in Animal Crossing somewhat. Which I really love, and I use personally for my own. Yay. Just want to thank you so much for your chat bubbles. Yay, thank you. I love that my chat bubbles have like improved so many people's streams. That's incredible that like I can do that without even like being there. That's so cool. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, so let's go through more of these settings and how they work. So another thing that you can do with these chat bubbles is you can just drag this entire screen around and like just kind of adjust it so that you can basically put it wherever you want on your stream, just in stream elements. You don't have to like move it around in OBS. if you want that to be an option. It's also a great way to just kind of limit the height without having to like clip it. So like if you do this, then you can see that the chat bubbles will only go up to there. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do. But let's expand it back out for now. I move in OBS like a dumb. I mean, I technically have mine moved around OBS somewhat, just so that like, as you can see, like when I switch between like these scenes, it moves around. So yeah, that's using the OBS Move Transition plugin, which is a fun one to have. Let's see. All right. Next up. So we have space from widget edges. So this, not a lot of people probably understand what this does, but if you like play around with the number on here, you can kind of tell that it just kind of does that. I mean, it makes more sense in random mode, to be honest. So if we set this to random, it just makes it so that like all the bubbles kind of end up in this area. Instead of like more random across the screen. I kind of have it set to like 30 just so that none of the bubbles ever like touch like the very edges of the screen. There's just kind of a bit of white space padding in there. So yeah, we also have message max width. So just like set like a max, yeah, a width for the messages. So if we like set that down to like 40 or something, then like all the messages, like this one will wrap around at like a 40 width and something. These emotes, since they're so big, they'll still take up the entire space. But yeah, so that's a way to kind of mess with that. We have max height, kind of like a similar kind of like a similar situation there. That will actually kind of, if any message gets past the max height, it will just kind of clip it off, just so that you don't have messages that are like too big, right? Then we have set width to always be max width. So this is a way to kind of make it so that like all the bubbles are just like in a uniform, like a standard size. So if we show this in like list mode, it makes a bit more sense. So right now, like all of them are kind of like different sizes, but if we do this, we set that, then they're always going to be that size, which can work better for like some different like layouts and whatnot. So that's an option there. I also added the option to show your Twitch badges, right? So let's turn that off for now, because I don't know, they're kind of a bit long for me. So we added Twitch badges, so you can see like the mod badges there. We have the VIP badges and everything. Basically all the badges that like anyone will have will just show up nicely, and it'll size to the size of the text. Like everything in these chat bubbles is actually sized to the size of the text. So if you change the font size, it'll kind of scale everything nicely to kind of fit that. Yeah. Yeah, okay, and then there's corner types, right? So I'll show this with the original mode first, right? So originally when I did the chat bubbles, I had a diagonal corner type that kind of makes the chat bubbles kind of look like they're from Phantasy Star Online 2, if you've ever played that. It's just kind of like this stylized diagonal corner thing that I really enjoyed. Oh yeah, I've added a lot. I've added a lot to this. This is why I'm able to talk so much about it today. We also have just square corner types. If you just want square messages, the square will also work with the Animal Crossing bubbles. And honestly, that looks pretty nice. Like when I put the square ones on the Animal Crossing ones, I'm like, that looks quite nice. It looks like it's like something out of like a game, which I mean, Animal Crossing is a game, so I guess yeah. There's no diagonal corners on the Animal Crossing ones, because honestly the whole diagonal corner thing was kind of tricky, because CSS doesn't like let you do that normally. So yeah, I only have it available for the original theme. I like round because it's cute. The round is quite nice, yes. And then of course we have dark mode, right? Just so that you can have a dark mode of the bubble. So I have like the specialized Animal Crossing dark mode, which kind of looks similar to like the dark mode UI that's used in Animal Crossing. It's kind of got a bluish tint to the background and the text, as well as yeah, the AZ chapels are so good. I love them so much. I even use them for myself. So yeah, and in dark mode, I love the dark mode. It's delicious. And then we have a dark mode for original as well. That's more of like a traditional dark mode with just like a dark black background and white text. But you can also customize these colors however you want, which I will show in a bit. But firstly, we have different animation types, right? So we have the standard animation type right now, in which, you know, the bubbles kind of pop out. But if you want something more subtle, right, you can have the like fade animation, so that the bubbles just kind of fade in. We also have like directional fades, like fade right, I think would work nicely here. Yeah, they just kind of pop in like that. And then like once they end, they'll like fade back out, as if we just like wait the 10 seconds for them to fade back. Yeah, there we go. There we go. They fade back out the other way. Yeah. And then there's also bounce zoom, which is just, they just kind of bounce in like this. It looks a lot nicer in like the random mode for them to like bounce in and out. And then there's also just none, if you just don't want an animation. I mean, I think it looks a lot nicer with an animation, but I gave the option just in case. Right. And then if for some reason you don't want highlighted messages to be rainbow, you can always disable that. Just want it to be optional, but it's on by default because I don't know. I think it looks pretty nice. The animations are wonderful. Thank you. I took quite a bit of time just kind of like tinker around with the animations to kind of like make them have like good timing and whatnot, like using like squash stretch effects for like the bounce that I've learned from like animation and whatnot. I'm like, this looks good in animation, it'll probably look good with these chat bubbles, and I was quite right. Thank you. Yes, the animations are honestly like my favorite part about these bubbles so much. I'm magic, thank you. I am a glitch witch. You can also have the /me style just be normal instead of italics. Made that optional as well. So that's everything in the bubble styles. Right. Moving on to text styles. So this is just a way where you can just completely customize how the text looks. We can like select from like any Google font that's available, or you can put in a custom font name for whatever font that's on your computer, such as Comic Sans MS. You have to have like the correct font name, but there you go. And now everything's in Comic Sans. Wonderful. We love it. That was like the only one that came up in my head, so I'm like, yeah, we'll put it in. When I found the chapels, I legit thought like this was too good to be true. No way I can do this. And I found your YouTube channel, watched it a billion times, and got it. Yay! I'm glad. Comic Sans is honestly great, and like not a lot of people really know that it's like a font that is what's it called? It's dyslexic friendly, right? I think that's why it's used like so much in like early education and whatnot. It's because it's easy for dyslexic people to read. Yeah, which is really cool and like made me like actually appreciate it. You can also set the font weight. Some fonts have like a lot of different font weights, but you can also just select from normal or bold. Yeah, dyslexic friendly. It's all, and honestly, I like it a lot better than like the like dyslexia font that is used like everywhere. There's like, I don't like that font so much, and there's like so many other much better looking like dyslexia friendly fonts that people could use. Yeah. Open Sans, nice, yes. Yeah. Oh, also, if you've noticed, my chat bubbles by default will just like make your emotes huge. If you have a message with only emotes, so like if you have one emote, it shows the emote at the largest sized. Changing whole street of papyrus, hell yeah. And then if you have like here, if you have like multiple emotes and there's only emotes in that message, then I'll have them at kind of like the half size. But like some people have requested to kind of be able to disable that. So that's an option that I have here. Just be like, no, I don't want the larger emotes. So, I mean, that's fine because, I mean, they do take up a lot of space. I personally love that they take up a lot of space and you get to see the emotes in like full size because you don't necessarily get to see the full size of the emotes all the time and see like all the details in them. But yeah, that's an option. You can like turn that off. I honestly loved Papyrus so much when I was a kid. I was just like, oh, this is such a cool font. But it's and then like I started learning more about like styling fonts and whatnot and trying to like make nice styles of Papyrus is actually really hard. Like putting like a gradient or like outlines and whatnot, it just doesn't look great on Papyrus. Reminds me of Firefly. Nice. Okay, so custom colors. Okay, so I mentioned that. Right, by default, if we look at these messages, right, the background color of like the username is actually the color of that person's username in chat if they've chosen a color, right? So you can see up above, we have Ember with the purple, we have Amiibo Jamie with like the teal, we have MamaTamago's like golden yellow, golden egg yellow. So yeah, but you know, some people want, and I think that's pretty fun to have, but some people do want to have custom colors to make it work with their stream better. So that's why I added a custom color options for that. So there's two different custom colors. So one is custom border / name, and the other one is custom background / text. The reason why I separate it like this was just like just to be able to like those are like the two different areas in which you could have like text in a background. So if, for example, if we turn this on, right, now like the username box will that basically controls the colors of the username box. So we can change the color by like hitting this little circle here, and then we can change it to whatever we want. So let's make it like a nice purple for like the background color, and then it'll look like this. And then we can like have this be like kind of like a light pinkish, like that, and then that'll update the text color. And there we go. So that updates that. And then similarly, for the background text color, we can have it so that, you know, you have like white text. Oh, wait, what is happening here? Oh, I think it's, what is happening here? I don't know. But yeah, let's have like purple text here. And with a white background. And why are they not working correctly? I don't know. Let's not worry about that. You know what? It might be because of dark mode? Question mark? Weird. Okay, if we turn off dark mode, does that fix it? Everything looks fine. Yeah. Okay, there we go. See, it's fine. I think there's some dark mode overrides that are kind of iffy, but it's okay because we fixed it. So don't worry. Yeah. Light blue text hard to see. What? Anyway, and then of course there is, yeah, everything's fine. It's all fine. Don't worry about it. And then of course there's the pronouns integration, which was like the, last major update I think I had to my chat bubbles, which I had in like 2.8, I'm pretty sure. Oh, the one with Toad had super light blue text. Oh, really? Oh man, I didn't see that. Pronouns integration, yeah. Oh my god. So I learned that Alejo's pronouns extension had a public API to grab the pronoun information from, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. That sounds really cool. Let's put it in. And then I kind of like asked Twitter and asked my Discord whether or not the pronoun should be added as a badge or as like a suffix with like parentheses like after the name, and a lot of people like wanted one or the other, and then I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna put both in. So yeah, if we turn on like badge mode, for instance, and why is nothing showing up? Hold on. wait, oh no, why is nothing showing up? Is preview mode is on? Okay. Oh no, why are the pronouns not showing up? Oh wait, it's fine. Okay, they just took a bit. They're there. I think it was waiting for the pronouns to come in from Alejo's extension. But they're there now. We're fine. We fixed it. Also, I kind of want to make this round, just because it works better with the Comic Sans. And let's just remove the custom colors for now, just because I like the original colors. Okay. Took a minute to catch up. Yeah. I think it makes sense because it's like waiting to like get like the list of pronouns from Alejo's API, and it isn't always able to do that like immediately, which is fine. So yeah, so we have the suffix mode, as you could see. It's what I use in my chat bubbles above, but we also have the option to show them as a badge, just like in Alejo's extension, and what you can also see if you enable them through Frankerface Z. So we have them like looking like a badge, and I was just like, you know what, I'm also gonna let you be able to customize how that badge looks. So we can have like this be like we can actually enable transparency. So this is a transparency slider, which you may not really realize at first because it's not very good at telling you, but we can kind of like mess with the transparency here, kind of select that and just be like use custom pronouns badge colors, and now it's like you kind of have like a slightly transparent background on that. I just added my pronouns, Alejo. Hope it worked. Yeah, it does take a bit. I do have, for the chat bubbles, I think it's like cached for like an hour, so it might not show up on the chat bubbles until like probably after the stream. But in the chat itself, I think it's like they're cached for like maybe 5 minutes or so. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't like bombard Alejo's API with too many requests, so I would just like, you know, just have things cached up so that I didn't have to keep doing that. It also saves time on like not having to call that API on every single message. Yeah. Anyone that has a Alejo browser source can see everyone that has theirs in there, as well as right in the chat. Yes. Yes. So yeah, we have the pronouns thing, and then we can also choose to lowercase them, right? So we'll just wait for it to load up again, apparently. Come on. You can do it. Maybe. Okay, maybe like change the suffix, have it reload again. You know, sometimes I guess it just takes a bit, because I have noticed like sometimes it kind of just I don't know. Send test message, maybe. Okay, we're able to send test messages. They don't have the pronouns in. Okay, well, I think it's just like probably just like API slowness. That's okay. We'll just continue on for now. Yeah. Okay, so there's the pronouns extension, and then we have a bunch of filters. So you can kind of like when I had this advertising for the random mode, right? There were a lot of people who were worried about it, like, taking up too much real estate on the screen. So I have also added a bunch of different ways to kind of limit that down, right? So firstly, we have like max number of displayed messages. So just like in case, there's just like a ton of messages on the screen, like coming from like a big raid or something, right? You can have it show a maximum of messages. So like anything that goes over that amount, like the oldest message will just kind of fade away, like automatically, instead of like fading away like after like the 10 seconds. By default, that is there. This is also just kind of put in as like a default 25, just so that there isn't like, because like when you have like 25 chat messages, especially in like list mode, like this will definitely not show like 25 chat messages. It'll show like maybe 10, especially with like emotes and whatnot, and like how big it kind of is. But like 25 was like a good number to kind of just like start having messages be like removed in the background, just so that it's not taking up like memory on your computer. Because I have noticed like other like chat message things that people have used that like start to slow down during their stream, because those like all the previous chat messages haven't been actually removed or cleaned up. They're just kind of like hidden up in the air, right? So I make sure that this is friendly on your computer in that way. So yeah, so that's that option right there. You also have an option to show only email only messages. Some people kind of got confused as to what this means, but basically, if you turn that on, and I'll just have the pronouns one turned off for now. Oh no, they're working again. We're fine. Okay, so now, as you can see, there's only messages that only have emotes in them will show up. It's basically like an emote only mode, but that only for your like the what's shown on stream, basically, rather than like enforcing an emote only mode like in your chat. So it's just a way to show only emotes there. So people wanted to maybe use that to just like, because people really like having the emotes being like shown big and having the name, so some people just kind of want it for like only emotes and kind of use it as like a way to replace the normal like emote Capamon thing or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. It's not Capamon. That's a completely different thing. But I think you get what I mean. Yeah, emote wall, basically. Yeah. It's a kind of a way to like replace emote wall, which is great with the random mode, right? You also have a way to like show only highlighted messages, right? So this was like a way to be like, oh yeah, so I have like a really super active chat, and having so many chat bubbles on screen might be a lot, but if it was only highlighted messages, then it could be like a nice way to just like show off like just the specific highlighted messages, because those are limited by channel points. Yes. And then there's also a way to only allow certain phrases, so you can make it so that like only the word hype will show up, right? Because like some people kind of requested that, so I'm like, you know what, I'll put it in. It's not too difficult to put in. I don't really think most people use it, but that's an option that you can have. And then minimum messages a user must send before their messages create bubbles. This one I put in specifically to deal with troll messages and such, because because like usually like trolls or like hate raiders or people will like throw in like maybe like one or two messages, right, and then leave, right? Or it's like one or two messages and then you just ban them. And then so this ensures that basically there's like that minimum message threshold, and like it, like if you set it to 2, then it won't show their messages on stream until like the third message appears, until they put in a third message. So that was a way to kind of deal with that hate raids in that way. Yeah, just to make sure that they don't show on stream. It doesn't really help with like actually in the chat, but at least they don't show up in stream. Yeah. Also, another thing, any message that gets deleted in your chat will automatically be like all the associated chat bubbles will get deleted as well, just like immediately. So you don't have to worry about like deleted messages not being removed from the chat bubbles. Is that for all users, or does that reset each stream? It would basically, it's for each individual user basically, and then that also resets each stream. It doesn't like keep a history of how many messages that user has sent. So like, yeah, it's a bit annoying because like you know, your regulars on your stream will have to like put in multiple messages every stream in order to like have the bubbles start appearing, but that's just kind of how I had to like code it in like that. So yeah. And then we have limit chat bubbles to once per this many seconds. There's just another way to just kind of filter it down if you have like a super active chat. Like if you have a chat that's like so active that you don't want all messages to be seen, then it's probably okay to like not have all the messages appear anyway. So like if you set this like 1 second, right, then that'll make it so that like once a chat bubble appears, another chat bubble can't appear until a second has passed, and that's like a global cooldown for like everyone on the stream. So that's how that works. Just another way to like filter it down. Yeah, there's probably a better way to kind of handle that, but I just kind of added that in just in case, just because people were worried about like too much chat happening. Then we have show chat bubbles only after raid for this many seconds, 0 to disable, negatives hide bubbles instead. These instructions are kind of confusing, but I will explain it. I think I also explain it in my video, maybe not. But so some people were asking for the ability to have like these chat bubbles only show up during a raid, which makes sense because it's just like a bunch of hype everywhere, especially in random mode. Hi. So yeah, so how this works, if you set this to like 60, right? This means that these chat bubbles will only show up for 60 seconds after a raid happens, right? So they won't show up until a raid happens, and then during that 60 seconds, then they'll show up, and then after that 60 seconds, they won't show up again. So I can kind of emulate this. Like if we send a bunch of test messages right now, nothing's appearing. But if we emulate a raid event through stream elements, that'll pop off, and then we start sending test messages. We see that now we're seeing chat messages, and then that'll allow it to be happening for up to 60 seconds, right? So by default, it's at 0. That functionality is completely disabled. There is also the option to make it negative, and that will basically make it so that the chat bubble will show up normally, but then once it's basically kind of like an inverse rule, so that like once a raid happens, then the chat bubbles won't show up for those 60 seconds, and then after that 60 seconds, they will show up. The reason for that is you could have, you could basically stack 2 of these on top of each other, because you can like go up here and you can duplicate this onto this overlay, right? So if you have one that's positive 60 and then one that's negative 60, you can essentially have one that has its own raid style. So I've used this on my stream sometimes to make it so that like it goes from the list mode into the random mode on a raid and then back to the list mode after that. So yeah, it's it's a nice little feature there, just to have like basically raid style, like a different style for raids essentially. So yeah, that's everything in the message filters. Dang, I really do have a lot to talk about in the chat bubbles. I didn't think it would be like this entire time would be me talking about it, but like, damn, I put in so much. We're not even done yet. So user filters. This is just kind of a way to make it so that chat bubbles might only show up on stream for specific users. You could just, you know, like have fun, like messing it around so that like maybe messages will only show from VIPs and moderators, or you could have them only show up from subscribers, right? That's an option. Or you can have like messages that only show up from specific users, so you can like put in like people's names. Like I can put in my name, I can put in MamaTamago, etc, etc. I also made it so that I'm pretty sure I made it so that it's like case insensitive, so no matter how like you like used caps or whatever on a person's name, like it'll understand that that's the person that it's associated with. So that's fun. So yeah, basic user filters if you ever want to mess with that. Yeah, I don't know if anyone actually uses it, but you know, it's an option. Then we have bot filters. So by default, Stream Elements, Streamlabs, and Nightbot are like basically like the most like popular bots, and so I just kind of have those by default like ignored. So that just makes it so that any like message from those like users won't show up as a chat bubble, since you probably don't want all your bot messages to show up. And then you can like add on to this list with whatever bots that you have on your stream, or like custom bots, you know? I've added my own bot as well. Hell yeah. And then we also have it ignores commands by default. Most commands usually just start with an exclamation mark. And you can add more things to this in case you have commands that start with other characters, such as like, I don't know, tilde or like hashtag or whatever. I don't know. You could technically also use this to like make it so that links don't show up. So if you just like write HTTP, that means like any message that starts with HTTP won't like show up on stream. One person asked about that. I'm like, oh yeah, you can just like add it to like this list here. Not really an intended feature, but it works. So yeah. There you go. Just so that you don't have like a big link that's like showing up there, because like it's not like people can like click it on stream anyway. So yeah, there is that. Then there's timing, right? So if you've noticed, the chat bubbles do disappear after a while, but you know, the ones up above me don't disappear. And that's because I set mine to 0. So that'll just make it so that they don't hide. Let's do this. It's just so that the chat bubbles are like appearing correctly. So yeah, they'll just stay on the screen now and like never leave. Although the ones that are off screen after 25 messages do get removed. So yeah. Oh, you have a notes emote. Nice. I think I also have like a notes emote through BTTV in here. I think it's just noted in all caps like this. Yeah. There you go. And then there's also a delay before visible. So by default, this is 1. You can't set this to 0 only because the code does need just like a nice full second in order to do all the proper calculations it needs, especially in random mode, in order to like position it randomly. Everyone's learning. Yes. I love this noted emo. It's so good. But this is also a really nice way to just add a delay to, so that, you know, in case you're worried about a troll coming in and saying like an annoying message or something, you know, set this to like a 3-second delay so that, you know, a mod has, you know, enough time to like delete the message before it even shows on stream, right? So that's there, because like once the message is deleted, they won't even show up as a chat bubble. So yeah, I kind of have that enabled right now for my own thing. So yeah, there you go. I was really not protecting my chat bubbles. Yeah. Yeah. And so like even like the sound effect won't like go off until like after that amount of time. Basically nothing of the chat bubble will appear until 3 seconds happens. All right, then sound effects. So there's a lot here. There used to be just like one thing that allowed you to like set a sound effect and set a volume, and that's it. As you could probably hear, like every time someone sends a chat message, there's like a little sound effect that I just kind of made myself, which I don't know, I think it sounds good. You could also hear when like in the beginning, when like the raid chat bubbles were happening, Toad screaming. That was part of this. So yeah, and then Teeny Giant was the one who requested more stuff with this, and has like really utilized the sound effects to their fullest extent. So yeah, what you can do here, you can add sound effects. We don't have any in here right now, but basically you go in here, right? You like it automatically takes you to upload screen. You drag and drop your sounds into here, and then you like upload them, save them, and then you go to your sounds, and there'll be a bunch of sounds for you to pick from. You just put the sounds that you want and put it in. I honestly really like it because I know it'd be really easy for me to miss chat without the sound effects. So like with the like small sound effect, it helps me know when chat's happening, and like not miss chat as much. So that's why I use it personally. Especially because like my chat isn't like super active all the time. So yeah. I love having it so that I just know when chat happens. But yeah, so you can actually put multiple sound effects in like one of these sound effect groups. As you can see here, if you put multiple of them in, then it will actually choose one of the sound effects at random to play. So that's why you heard like various different Toad screams towards the beginning of my stream when the raid happened, because it was just like playing one of those Toad screams at random. But there's also a bunch of other stuff that you can do with these sound effects. You can have specific user levels, right? So you can be like, oh yes, I want a specific sound effect for subscribers. Subscribers would have a specific sound effect with their messages. You can set it to like specific users. So like we could put in like MamaTamago potentially, and like maybe make it so that there is a breaking egg sound whenever she sends a message or something like that. And then you can also set it so that specific message types, like a highlighted message, would have a specific sound effect, right? Your sound effect would probably just be a breaking egg. I don't know what else. It would be. But yeah, you can have like special sound effects for specific people. Oh yes, streamers. Just every time it's just streamers. That'd be pretty great. Yeah, and then there's a bunch of other sound effect groups. I think there's up to 10. Yeah, there's 10 sound effect groups, so you can have multiple different variations to string together to be like, oh yes, okay, for this group it will only apply to like this specific person, or like this group will apply to like subscribers, this group will apply to like highlighted messages, etc., etc. So you can have like a whole, like, you can like mess with it a lot. There's a lot to mess with there. So yeah, there's a sound effects system, and then there's a global volume slider for all of them. So just kind of make sure that like all your sound effects are kind of relatively the same volume, and then you can just kind of mess with this to like make it so that they're not as loud and whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty much everything of my chat bubbles. There's also this help a section down here, which just gives the YouTube video, which kind of gives you a similar rundown as to what I gave here, though it's kind of out of date. I do need to make a new one later, just haven't gotten around to that yet. But yeah, there's that YouTube video there. There's also an about section that I put in like all my overlays, just kind of like to say like everything about me, and like the version and everything. So yeah, those are the chat bubbles. Yay! You can also on my website, if we go here, there's also a chat leaderboard, which I haven't talked about, but I have a whole video on my YouTube channel that talks about that if you want to check that out. There's also the animated gradient frame. Oh my gosh, who's here? What? There's a raid? What's happening? Oh my gosh, hello, welcome in, raiders. 8-bit Val, hi, welcome in. We were just talking about everything about the chat bubbles. I just kind of finished explaining it, but we will have a VOD later that goes over everything we've gone over. And yeah, but thank you for coming in. We're gonna like bring this raid over to the next streamer in the Streamer Studio showcase, Delayed Dale. Once I'm just kind of wrapping up here, but thank you for the raid. Dale is live and ready. Perfect. Okay, and then like last thing that I want to say, animated gradient frame is another thing you can do. Like this frame that's going around me, made purely using code, and you can have like something similar to that too for your own stream. You just click on that, add it in, you can customize the colors from there. Super simple. You don't have to like make it in like a video file or whatever. You just do it within Stream Elements. There you go, and you can resize it and everything. So yeah, there we go. That was the chat bubbles. Yay! All right. Oh my god, look at how many people are in the hot tub. Whoa! I love it. So many people in the hot tub today. So many people in the chat soup. But yeah, let's send this off over to Delayed Dale, who is going to teach us about the power of Canva and everything that you can use with Canva to improve your stream.